This is a Glitterball podcast. Before we get into today's episode, please remember I'm judging these housemates based solely off of an edit and not as total people. Please don't send them any hate, it's just a game show. It's time to talk the wrap-up of the BB Hotel task, and we are back on the merry-go-round of showmances as Holly and Colin are on, off, and Bruce and Coco are the same. Welcome to another episode of He's Always Watching. From Glitterball, this is He's Always Watching, a Big Brother podcast. Hello, Fishbowl friends. It is time to talk about the fallout from the BB Grand Hotel task as our housemates found out that they were under a ruse. The staff kind of didn't react, but we'll unpack that in a minute. And we have the merry-go-round of showmances to unpack as Bruce and Coco are on, off, as well as Holly and Colin ruffling feathers as always. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the wrap-up of the BB Hotel task. After that being such an explosive task with Coco having a meltdown, Edward having a meltdown, and Bruce and Holly completely going off the rails, I am genuinely surprised that they didn't react more to finding out they had been fooled by their fellow housemates. They were so up in arms about their fellow housemates' behaviour, but you give us no big reaction to finding out that you have been rused. Like, okay, yeah, sure, that makes total sense. You are angry for days and days on end, but then, like, there was no strops really at Big Brother. There was just, oh, we're glad it's over. And I'm like, that's all you're gonna give us? Wow. I was really expecting somebody to kick off at somebody when they found out it was a ruse, but no, nothing at all. And I'm like, that is so boring. But what are you gonna do? Sometimes you get the drama in the task and not in the result. The result was that our housemates did indeed pass the task and the secret mission, which means they got a luxury shopping budget, which I think did genuinely make the house quite happy. But as I say, I was expecting more fallout from this. However, we have, with the merry-go-round of showmances, seen a lot of fallout and making up and falling out, and we're going to get into all of that right now. We have finally seen the humanity in Holly, or have we? Well, actually, I think we have. Do you know what? Her conversation with Colin, and indeed the house's conversation with Colin, is the most genuine and potentially unfiltered, although I have to be honest, I really don't trust anything that comes out of her mouth. But it feels like the most close to genuine thing we've seen from her this season. You know by now, I don't have a lot of time nor love for Holly. But I will say, I actually felt like I finally connected with her for the first time this season during this moment where you actually got to see a pretty down-to-earth, mature woman. And I'm like, why? Where has this been hiding under this Ice Queen facade all this time? And I know we're getting to see, 40 minutes of 24 hours. But it's very frustrating that for the majority of the time that we have seen, and there must be more instances of it, either that or the veneer has just not come down. And I think that's worse. So I'm hoping there are just more moments of this that we haven't seen. But I actually felt like I connected with her for the first time this season, and I was like, you're actually speaking sense for once? And not off in la la HY land that makes no sense. You actually making sense. Then, my dear friends, we get to Bruce and Coco. Oh, jeez. Do you see now why I hate showmances? Because both of these duos have just gone around and around and around in circles, and it's nauseating. And there has to be other things we're not seeing in the house, but we're just stuck on this merry-go-round of love, love. And look, I will never, you know this, I was a big fan of January in the UK. I don't mind a good romance where it's natural and it kind of bubbles along. But both of these duos have just gone on some sort of deranged loop constantly. And while I understand Coco wanting to kind of hold back because she's on national TV and her kids are watching, it's just like, just bin it until you're out of the house then, and figure it out once you're out of the house. Watching you two kind of get the ick for each other and then come back together and get the ick and come back and get the ick and come back. It's boring. I will say I did like the insight from Coco that the inner reflection was kind of doing something for her, but generally speaking, it's just tiring. And I really would like to see more of other people in the house, like Emily or Vinny. Edward has given us nothing this season, so I just don't understand why we are just getting a loop of not even romance, because these duos aren't even selling romance. There's just nothing there. It's like the house lights are on, but no one's home, and there's nothing behind the eyes. It just doesn't... It's not landing, so I hope if we're forced to deal with Romance Gate again next season, we actually have some genuine romance, because this is boring. And I'm really sick of this loop that we seem to be on. So in a way, it's kind of good this is only a short season, because if there was 4 more weeks of this loop-de-loop-de-loop-de, I would be struggling. But do you know what's interesting? With 1 week to go, I cannot pick who is going to win this series. I have not got the foggiest. I don't even have a preferred housemate that I would like to win, never mind who I think the public might choose. This is the most confused I have been over who might win this series I think I've ever been. It just doesn't make... Like, there is no clear, to me, clear sign anyway. I think there's some general consensus that Colin might be the shoo-in, but I don't even see that, because all we've seen is him attached to the hip of Holly, and if the teen girls are voting, they're not going to want to vote for somebody who they can't attach themselves to because he's attached to a model. Like, that's not going to work. So, could we see someone like Alana just sneak in from behind and go, ta-da, I'm the winner? Look, I wouldn't be mad at it, but it's a very confusing one. I mean, she has been great this week as head housemate. This is how a head housemate should be. Last week was absolute chaos, and while you can kind of have a happy medium, she is obviously a lot more down-to-earth, sensible, not such a tyrant. I feel like if I was head housemate, I'd probably be somewhere in the middle. Because sometimes you've got to turn it up for the drama, but there has to be a happy medium between ruffling a few feathers and, like, trying to keep some level of peace. And Holly just threw all peace out the window. But there you go. That is your lot for this episode of He's Always Watching. A little bit of a shorter one, but to be honest with you, there isn't that much to unpack aside from the showmances going around and around and around in a loop. And I don't want to take up more of your time if I don't have interesting things to say. But fear not, because I will see you very, very soon to unpack our next eviction. And I have a feeling, given the 4 that are up, I'm going to have a lot to say. So I will see you then. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend and rate and review on whatever podcasting app you're listening on. I will see you on Monday to unpack all of my eviction thoughts. In the meantime, remember, Big Brother isn't the only one who's always watching. See you soon.